Three things happened in the span of 10 seconds that turned a perfectly ordinary Tuesday into something I won't forget: a scream, a dozen grocery carts clattering to a stop, and the slow, ridiculous rise of a woman's voice blasting into my phone as if the whole world owed her an audience. My name is Eli Carter. I moved here from a city that never slept so I could learn how to sleep again. I thought I wanted quiet. Turns out quiet carries its own kind of trouble. I'd been at Maple Hollow Market for maybe 5 minutes, just grabbing coffee and the kind of bread my wife likes, the kind with seeds that pretend to be healthy, when the scream came from aisle 3. Not a watch out, or a hey, a full-bore, operatic scream that sent kids crying and husbands looking confused, like someone had thrown a punch at the air itself. There she was, Marla Green, the woman everyone in our subdivision knows but nobody calls by name because she answers to HOA president, like it's her title and her warning light. She pointed straight at me, chest puffed out, face the color of a late tomato. "There's a gun," she shouted, like the phrase was a spell that would make security appear. "Now, I need you to picture this. I'm in civilian jeans, a plain button-down, my jacket unbuttoned, the kind of clothes a man wears when he wants to be invisible. But yes, like any county officer I sometimes carry. It's legal. It's part of the job. I keep it mostly out of habit and every once in a while, because habit is stubborn. I had no intention of causing a scene, and I certainly never wanted to walk into a drama that would feel like a TV courtroom episode played out in fluorescent light and floral-scented hand sanitizer. "There's a gun," Marla yelled again, and suddenly every head swung my way. Carts clanged. A toddler dropped a cookie and looked at me as if I had stolen his guardian angel. The store manager, Harold, who wears suspenders and a permanent look of mild panic, started inching toward us. "Ma'am," I said, the kind of soothing I use when I calm folks down after bar fights or loud neighbors at 2 in the morning. "I'm just shopping. I'm Eli Carter. I work at the county office. I have my ID." She didn't let me finish. Of course she didn't. She was already in performance mode, pulling out her phone, filming, narrating like she was delivering a verdict. "He has a weapon," she said, louder now, to a virtual jury I couldn't see. "This is Maple Hollow. We don't need guns in our aisles." Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from excitement. The buzz of attention is addictive. People leaned in. A few nodded. Others looked wary, as if deciding whose side to pick. That's the thing about small towns. The audience is always right behind you, and they love a story with a villain. "Ma'am," I tried again, because training says you de-escalate. You explain. You try to humanize the situation. "I carry for work and for safety. I'm not a threat to anyone here." She cocked her head, like I was a fox who'd walked into a henhouse. "I'm calling 911, she said, and she did it like she was announcing a bake sale. If you'd asked me in the moment what I felt besides the immediate and very human embarrassment, it would have been this: an old regret settling heavy in my chest. Before I moved here, I spent years in a place where threats were real, where people used violence to solve math problems. I thought leaving would be a clean break. I thought moving to willow trees and neighborly potlucks would scrub the edges off me. Turns out the world will always find a way to remind you who you used to be. Deputies arrived quicker than Marla expected. 2 of them, Rosa Kim and Ben Alvarez, who I like because they have a knack for looking like they're on your side while doing their jobs. They walked in calm, the way people who see a lot of things walk, shoulders in, eyes scanning, smiles brief and measured. Harold was talking a mile a minute, trying to explain the store's security footage like it was a complicated recipe. Marla stepped forward like she was leading a parade. "He is dangerous," she said to the officers, and she said it with a certainty that made my ribs ache. Certainty is a convincing actor. "He was pointing something at me. He was threatening us." Deputy Rosa gave me a look that mixed apology and protocol. "Sir, can you show your badge? Tell us what happened from your side." So I did. I pulled my wallet, set the county ID on the counter for half a second, enough to authenticate, but not enough to make it a performance. "I'm Eli Carter," I said soft. "I moved here a few months back. I was grabbing coffee. I carry because of the job. No threats. No pointing. No waving." Marla's video was already live, of course. Comments would be made. Text would be sent. That's the brutal economy of modern reputation. One short, electrical moment can turn into a narrative, and that narrative will pay interest on your mistakes. And here's the moment that made the whole thing feel like a story with a cheap twist. Dispatch came back over the radio, all business, and said, confirming. Eli Carter, county officer. Noted. No active complaint besides caller report. Her face didn't fall so much as harden. When authority confirms what you're trying to prove false, you can go two ways, shame or rage. Marla chose rage. You see how they cover for their own? She shouted, pivoting her lens toward the deputies now, as if accusing them would trap the moment in a frame where she remained heroic. It got loud. People took sides. Some murmured that she was right to be cautious. Others muttered that she was performing for likes. Harold kept inching between us, suggesting we all step outside like a man trying to usher cats into a carrier. I could see his worry if things escalated. His store would be the headline. After a while, the deputies handled it the only way they could, with paperwork and patience. Marla filled out a statement. I gave mine. Harold fired off a number for a manager's report. The crowd drifted. The immediate storm passed like any thunder you remember for the smell after. But it didn't end. That night, Marla's video, a sticky, dramatic clip of her pointing and yelling, worked its way through our neighborhood chat like a rumor that wanted to be true. People messaged me. Some asked if I was okay. Some said I should have been arrested. One neighbor, a man who never speaks, sent me a thumbs-up emoji and a bag of homemade cookies on my porch the next morning. No note. Small kindnesses matter, and they balance the drama. We had a hearing at the next HOA meeting. Because of course we did. Marla wanted to discuss community safety, her euphemism for policing anyone who looks different. She stood at the podium like a preacher, hands sweeping, reprimanding us for lax standards and lax morality. I listened. I didn't shout. What would that fix? Besides, shouting invites the cameras again. When my turn came, I spoke, and I tried to be honest because that's what people remember more than theatrics. I carry because I'm responsible for people sometimes, I said, voice steady though my chest was tight. I didn't come here to intimidate. I came because I wanted to be near trees, not headlines. If you feel unsafe, tell me. Ask questions. Don't make accusations that ruin a neighbor's life. It was old-fashioned, maybe naive, and maybe that's because I still believe conversation works more often than it doesn't. A few folks nodded. A few glared. Marla rolled her eyes like she was allergic to humility. That night, I walked home with the kind of tired you only feel after being watched. My wife, Mia, met me at the door with one eyebrow up and a cup of tea. She said nothing at first. She knows what my uniform means and what it doesn't, and she knows the way small towns can chew you up if you let them. You handled it, she said, sliding into the couch like she was trying to weigh my armor and see if anything had bent. But it lit something in her. Like what? Like a habit. Like control. Like thrill. People don't like being small. Some of them grow actions to fit that. That line, people grow actions to fit, sat with me. It's a kind of truth. Folks who feel small will find ways to feel large. For Marla, that way was a microphone and a badge of vigilance issued by neighbors who mistook loudness for leadership. Weeks passed. Life resumed its mundane glory. Mowing lawns, potluck casseroles, the neighbor kid learning to ride a bike with training wheels that squealed. Marla softened. Publicly anyway, apologies on the neighborhood thread, the word misunderstanding, used like a bandage. Privately, I saw her at community events, still scanning, still ready. I could tell she wasn't a bad person in the way movies define bad people. No one is, but she had chosen a posture that made her more dangerous than she probably intended. In the end, there was no arrest, no lawsuits, no dramatic showdown under street lamps. What we had was a moment that revealed how fragile our assumptions are, how easily fear becomes authority, and how quickly a single video can remake someone's days. I'll tell you what changed me. I walked away from that episode lighter in some ways and heavier in others. Lighter because I didn't let anger drive my actions. I didn't retaliate or humiliate someone who was clearly acting from a place of pain. Heavier because I saw how a community could be split by a single claim, how narratives get stitched into reputations, how quickly a life can be reshaped by a 10-second clip and a bold finger. There's one more thing I want to be honest about: the hole that moves in you after being accused publicly. It's not about pride, it's about trust. I moved here to build trust, not to be its casualty. So I spent more time after that at community events, helping with the food bank, picking up trash along Maple Creek, showing up in ways that were quiet and steady. Little things add up. Little things remind neighbors that we're not enemies. But the question that hums under everything still matters. What would you have done? Would you have filmed her back? Called her out? Pulled a badge and made a show? Or would you take a breath and remember that folks are complicated, sometimes loud because they're scared, sometimes cruel because they were hurt? I don't pretend to have an answer that satisfies everyone. Was Marla right to call out perceived danger? Or was she weaponizing fear for attention? Did I handle it the right way? Or should I have been firmer? Drop a comment. Share your story. If you've ever been publicly accused, how did you respond? Let's talk about power, accountability, and how we build communities that don't mistake noise for virtue.